Welcome back to Box Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain the movie Day Shift, released in the year 2022. The movie starts and we see a man named Bud cleaning a pool. One day, he goes to a house to clean the pool, but upon getting there, he changes his dress and enters another house. He takes out his shotgun and wears a mask. It turns out that the man is actually not a pool cleaner. He is a vampire hunter who kills vampires and extracts their teeth as they are precious and one can make a lot of money through those. He sets a trap for the vampire in the house. He enters a room where he is confronted by an old woman who asks him why he is there. He thinks for a moment and then goes on to shoot her. She transforms into a vampire right away and launches herself at Bud. A fight ensues, and it ends with Bud cutting off her neck, and the creature finally dies. We learn that the vampires never die of a bullet. If you have to kill one, you're gonna have to chop their neck. As Bud stands there after having killed a vampire, another one appears, and when he tries to attack Bud, his throat gets slit by the wire set up by Bud, and the next one dies too. After he has killed both of the creatures, he goes on to extract their teeth. Bud's job is to hunt and kill vampires, and their teeth are sold for a paycheck, with the teeth of old vampires, called elders, commanding a higher payout. We then see a woman named Audrey. She used to work at real estate, and she herself is a vampire. She wanted all the vampires to live in her estate, and this has been her dream. She has been making a lot of buildings and selling them. She hates the fact that vampires have to hide in their secret holes at night, but she wants them to live freely. She then goes on to kill her own colleague with whom she has been working as a partner. She then decides to execute his plan of having constructed a large colony for the vampires. On the other hand, Bud goes to his apartment and puts a yellow powder on his whole body so that the vampires don't smell him. He then goes to pick up his daughter from school. The little girl is really happy to see her father. It turns out that Bud has not told his family that he is a vampire hunter. He has a habit of telling a lot of lies, even to his own family, which is precisely why his wife left him. On the way back home, he takes his daughter to an ice cream shop, and after having some ice cream, they make their way to the girl's mother's house. His wife asks him why he is so late, and he tells her that he went to someone's house to clean the pool. The woman understands right away that he is lying and goes on to remind him that this is why they do not live together anymore. She then tells him that she is going to sell this house as she has no money for their daughter's education. She adds that she is going to be living with her mother from now on. Bud, however, tells her that she does not need to move anywhere. He asks her to give him 7 days to arrange the money. Bud leaves and makes his way to a pawn shop where he is to sell the vampire's teeth. The man at the shop tells him that he can only give him $800 for the teeth, but Bud does not agree on that and goes on to add that he could get much more than that for this. Bud tries to negotiate with him, telling him that he could get paid a lot of money for this in the union. The shopkeeper right away tells him to go to the union then. We learn that the union is a big society of vampire hunters. They send their employees to kill vampires and extract their teeth. Bud, however, sells the teeth to the man and even goes on to sell his shoes and his gun as well. He is trying to make as much money as he can to be able to pay his daughter's fees. That night, Audrey gets to that old woman, the vampire, and sees that she has been killed. She is shocked to see this, because that old woman was actually her daughter. We learn that Audrey is 500 years old, and she is heartbroken because she never got to spend time with her daughter, and now she is gone. She right away orders her men to catch the man who killed her daughter. They inspect the place and find a few drops of Bud's blood, and they express that it is going to help them catch the killer. Bud is forced to go back to the vampire hunting union from which he had been kicked out of because of his risky and aggressive hunting style that contravened many of the union's protocols. Bud approaches his friend John Elliot, who is well respected within the union, and he helps Bud get another chance at the union, albeit with certain conditions. They make it abundantly clear to him that if he broke another rule, he is going to be kicked out right away. He is forced to only work the day shift, which does not pay as much, and he must also be babysat by a union rep named Seth, who is tasked to look out for any violations committed by Bud and then report them. Seth himself does not want to work in the field and goes on to tell his boss, but the boss tells him that if he wants to be promoted, he is gonna have to prove himself in the field as well. He tells him that he is gonna have to report right away if Bud makes any kind of mistake out there. The next day, Seth comes to Bud's workshop where he makes his weapons. Seth is still not happy about being out there in the field, and he tells Bud that he is not comfortable, but Bud tells him to stay calm and assures him that he is going to protect him. They then go out to hunt a baby vampire. Bud tells him that baby vampires are easy to hunt, as they cannot digest human blood, so they just drink the blood of small animals like cats and rats. Bud then goes inside a building to hunt the vampire and tells Seth to wait for him in the car. He strictly tells him not to move. Seth tells him that he wants to come inside, but Bud does not agree to tell him that he could get killed or badly hurt out there. On the other hand, Audrey traces that pawn shop. She goes on to kill everyone out there. She tortures the shopkeeper, interrogates, and then kills him. Before she killed him, she asked him about the man who sold him those teeth, but the man says that he cannot tell her that. She then goes on to tell him a story from long ago. She reveals that humans used to worship vampires as gods before the humans turned on them. She tells him that their race is coming to an end, and the humans have frequently started killing them. She then goes on to reveal that she has plans to recreate that old god worship hierarchy. This is when the shopkeeper tells him about Bud, and then she kills him. In the meantime, Bud moves forward through a hallway and starts killing the vampires. One of the vampires gives him a hard time, and Bud finds himself in trouble. To his good luck, Seth gets there and Bud right away asks him to pass the gun to him. He goes on to shoot the vampire and then kills him. After killing them all, he extracts their teeth, and then they get out of there. Bud notices that Seth has peed his pants. Bud, however, does not make fun of him at all, and instead tells him that he does not need to worry about that, as these things happen when you're out in the field for the first time. Bud makes his way home and runs into a woman in his building. She is nice to him and tells him that she has recently moved into the building and adds that she is a nurse. Bud helps her carry her luggage into her apartment, and they hit it off. The next day, when Bud goes to pick up Seth, he finds him reading a diary. He snatches the diary away from Seth and starts reading it. He sees that Seth has jotted down all the mistakes that Bud made during his vampire hunt, and that Seth plans on telling everything to the boss back at the Union. Bud then tells him that if he did not break all these rules, he would not be sitting there with him alive and well. He then requests Seth not to tell the boss about it, and Seth tells him that he will think about it. They then make their way to the pawn shop and see that the shopkeeper is dead, and he has ratted him out to the vampires as well. Seth gets freaked out and scared. He tells Bud that they should report to the Union right away, but Bud tells him not to do any such thing. Seth does not listen to him, and when he is about to dial, Bud tells him that if Seth made the phone call, his daughter would never be able to go to school. He tells him that he just wants to make enough money for his daughter to be able to study at her school. Bud tells him that when he has made that money, Seth can call and complain about him. Seth feels bad for him and decides that he is not going to rat him out to the Union. That night, when Bud goes home, he sees that his neighbor is fighting with a man. The next morning, the Union gives Bud a lead about many vampires out there in a valley. There, they come across with the Nazarian brothers, who also happen to be vampire hunters. Bud tells them that this is their area, and that the two should leave. But those two hunters go on to give him an offer, saying that they can work together and divide the money they make from their teeth. The four men go on to work together to destroy a whole vampire lair and kill many vampires. They also come across a substance that turns out to be the vampire sunscreen. By using this, they are able to survive in the sun for 15 to 20 minutes. Seth then notices that this place is home to several species of vampires, and goes on to add that he thinks they are not there voluntarily. Bud tells the man that he has got a point, but he has to go. Later that day, he takes his daughter to a birthday party, but receives a call from Audrey, who tells him that she is going to kill his daughter. He takes his daughter and gets out of there after killing a man whom he also saw last night with his neighbor. Bud barely manages to lose Audrey's people following him and saves his daughter's life. However, upon getting home, he sees that they have already taken his wife hostage, who asks him what is going on, and he finally tells her the truth. He reveals that he is a vampire hunter who retracts their teeth after killing them and makes money through it. Audrey tells him that she is going to transform his daughter into a vampire and then make her drink the blood of her own mother. They then attack Bud and knock him unconscious. After that, they take away his wife and daughter. When Bud wakes up, he finds Seth in front of him, who has not transformed into a vampire. He tells Bud that he is now a vampire and that he needs blood. He makes his way to Bud to attack him, but Bud slits his throat. Despite that, Seth does not die and starts saying that he is his partner and that he should not kill him. He then says that they have a lot of work to do. Bud then makes his way to the woman who introduced herself as a nurse to him. He confronts her, and she tells him that she has been sent by Audrey to keep an eye on him. She tells him that Audrey turned her into a vampire against her wishes. She, however, assures him that she can help him. After that, Seth and Bud, along with the woman, go to a place and start killing vampires right away. John appears with a machine gun, and they kill many vampires. She then tells them about a tunnel where all the vampires live. As they move forward killing the vampires, John is bit by a vampire, and the wound is fatal. He, however, makes sure that Bud goes out of there and saves his family. Bud wants to help him, but he is persistent. When Bud leaves, John's gun goes out of bullets. This is when he reveals a bomb that he attached to himself in Crisis just like this. As Bud moves forward, he is attacked by Audrey's special man. They fight for a while, and this is when Seth and Heather appear, and they start fighting the vampire while Bud moves forward to look for his wife and daughter. He finally gets to Audrey. It turns out that Audrey is the most fierce fighter of them all. He tries to shoot her, but she is too fast. She moves as quickly as the light and attacks Bud. Despite the fact that Bud is no match for Audrey, he still manages to trick her during the fight and save his family. Later, Seth helps Bud stay in the Union by citing protocol to justify his actions. As the Jablonski family drives away, John climbs out of a sewer manhole, showing that he survived the explosion. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.